So I'm going to do a video talking about possible Dick Tracy villains that or characters that Mezco might be creating. If they are actually creating a whole series rather than just a few, um, these would be kind of my picks for who I'd like to see. And I would much prefer the villains. I'm not really that into the character of like his other supporting characters on the police force or Tess or any of them. I love the villains. So the first thing to note here, this is from Wikipedia. Here's all his villains from the 1930s, 1940s, and if you're kind of amazed at how many villains there are, you could compare it to say the number of villains Batman has. The difference is that by and large, Dick Tracy doesn't leave his villains alive. So um, I don't remember maybe once or twice a villain ever returning. Generally, they're dead by the end. And to his credit, Chester Gould does not bring characters back to life. When they're dead, they're dead. So we start off here with Big Boy Caprice, from 1931. And he's basically Al Capone. It looks nothing like the. Let's see. So there's the movie version of him. The character doesn't look like that. If they were going to make a big boy, I doubt that Mezco has licensing for the characters from the movie. They don't seem to be trying to make the characters as they look in the movie. Dick Tracy looks like Dick Tracy from the comics, so I would be surprised if they made any attempt to make him look like the Al Pacino character. So it does say here, Big Boy is a fictional analog for Al Capone. And then we have a lot of just. It took a while before Chester Gould really hit his stride. He went through this period where he was. Everyone was getting like reverse names. Fred Redrum, which is murder. We have, let's see, Professor Emmerich, crime. John Levere, rival. Suntan. He kept doing this for a while, and then he just kind of moved on, quit doing that. So most of the characters, what the kind of characters that I like are the classic grotesque characters like Little Face Finney, the Mole, and I'd say in the 1940s was kind of where he hit his stride. And so Pruneface was a really good choice. In fact, if someone were to ask me what other villain, Pruneface might be number one. He'd certainly be in the top three after Flat Top. I think Flat Top Jones he's maybe the one villain that transcended the comic strip. So who would I do? Who would I create? So we have, I think I'll go based on what my favorite choice would be, and I think would be influence. And it's not based on the storyline. It's just based on physical appearances. So he had a prominent role in the movie, and so here he is in the comic strip, and he's got these disc-like staring eyes. Influence was able to see. He was a hypnotist. I much prefer actually the movie version, and I think that these leering eyes would look very odd on a figure, and so I think this piercing stare would do much better in a character form, and I think it would be really neat. And of course, the comic strips were black and white, so one thing I really liked about the movie was the colorful costumes. So if they put him into something colorful, I think that would be pretty neat. This green costume seems to be popular, so that would be my number one choice. After that, probably let's see here. So I don't think they could do Little Face. Little Face would be a problem because he has a little face, and it would look really weird on a character. He's got a very large head and then a little face. And so here he is This is from the movie. He was part of the Lips Manless gang. There's Lips Manless. And they all got killed at the beginning. So there were 5 villains right off the bat. So probably my second favorite would be the Brow. Again, this is a very visually striking character. It's simple. He's just got a big brow, big wrinkled brow. Um, and so I think that would be really neat in figure form. Let's see. You have characters like Coffeehead. He got very weird. So Coffeehead, he drinks a lot of coffee and he has a head shaped like a coffee pot. I don't think that'd be really good for a character. Shoulders here. Oops. Shoulders has big shoulders. I don't think this would work as a figure because you'd have to sculpt a unique body, and I think that those wide shoulders would look very odd. So I don't think shoulders is really workable. Mumbles, there's a lot of interesting characters, but I'm not sure. I think that it drops off very quickly. 3D McGee, he had 3D glasses. That'd be kind of interesting. And I don't really remember how a lot of these characters look. A lot of my memory comes from the movie, just the striking characters, and there were characters that just stood out, and they were making figures even back in the 1940s and 50s of certain characters, and it was mostly characters like the Brow and Influence, because they had very striking appearances. This is Big Boy and his closest group. I think that's Itchy. So there is what's his name? The one they're making the character now. Oh, jeez, what is his name? Pruneface. One character I thought was interesting. So there's Influence, and I never really paid attention who the actor is. The actor was Henry Silva. Henry Silva kind of looked like him in real life. I mean, obviously they exaggerated him, but he kind of had that look in his actual face. So I'm really getting more and more excited about this line. If it is going to be a line, even if it's just those 3 characters, I'm pretty excited about it. I like when Mezco does things like having characters in suits and things like that. I think it's really neat. So I would say probably after Pruneface, Influence, the Brow. I don't know, Itchy, he wasn't really a major character, but they made him a major character. Big Boy Caprice, if they made him look like Al Capone, kind of. So there's certainly a ton of characters to choose from, and we'll see where it goes. And by the way, I don't know if I mentioned this before. I think I did, but Flat Top was a very popular character. He was so popular that they wanted to bring him back, but they couldn't because Chester Gould doesn't bring back dead characters. So they made Flat Top Jones Jr., who looked pretty much exactly like his dad, and I think they killed him too, I'm pretty sure. So anyway, that's my choices for who I'd like to see, what other figures, and it's not a lot, just a couple, but we'll see where it goes with this.